Hi, I'm Catherine from Catherine Learns Stuff. Today I'm going to walk you through how to make a full-size tissue pouch. This is great for full-size tissues that come out of a box, but that you want to have like in your car or have something small that's kind of nice instead of like a tissue box. So let's jump over to our workstations and get this project started. I'm making a tissue paper holder for full-size tissues, so like a full-size one that comes out of a tissue box. And this is good for like in big kid bags if you've got like a backpack for all of your kids stuff and you don't want to carry a full tissue paper box, or if you want to have them in your car. So what we need here is we need two pieces of fabric. We need one piece, they need to be 13 inches by 10 inches long, and an optional piece of interfacing. I use the sew-in interfacing because that's kind of what I have handy, but if you have the iron-on interfacing, you can make it a little bit smaller so that you're not sewing through it. And all we need to do is line up our fabric on both sides and put our interfacing on over top. And I'm going to put this together, and all you need to do, we're going to be sewing a 1/8 seam across the edge to hold this together. Okay, so I'm just going to sew a 1/8 inch seam along the edges here. And if you're not sure which side you should be putting your first seam on, you want to put it on the shorter side, and I'll show you why. Because once we sew this in, we'll be putting it sort of together like this later. I want to make sure that our tissue fits in this way here. So that's just a way to double check to make sure that your tissue is going to fit in properly. Because if we were to do it this way, if we were to sew this side first, our tissue is not really going to fit in here. So just to give you an idea. I've got my edges sewn on. I'm just going to quickly trim off this extra thread that I've got floating around. And this fabric is peeling pretty good, so I'm not impressed with that. And it's grabbing on every piece of garbage that I've seen today. Okay, and I'm going to quickly fold this inside out. I'm trying to get rid of some of this extra stuff here so it doesn't get stuck in my sewing. Okay, and now I'm going to quickly iron these edges so that they're flat so that I can have a nice pouch. So I'm going to quickly fold this flat and just iron this on my ironing board. Okay, so now that I've ironed my edges, it's flat on the side. What's going to happen with this is going to be my tissue paper holder, and I want the blue side to be on my outside when this is completed. So when I'm folding this in and out, I'm actually going to have my blue side hidden on the underside. And I'm just going to grab out a tissue here to show you how big we want this so that we have a good idea how big. And I'm just using one tissue paper, but you can obviously, when this is all done, we're going to have a whole bunch of them in here, but we're going to need to have some space. And my idea is that this is going to sort of fold high on one side and low on the other side so that it's a little bit offset. And so I'm going to put this sort of in this fashion. And with the shorter side on the inside now, that will give me the ability to have a nice flap later. So I'm just going to pull this tissue paper out here and show you. So this will actually fit my tissue paper and give me a little bit of extra space so I can put several, or a whole wad of tissue papers in here so that I've got space for this in my car. So for those of us who like actual dimensions, the bottom here is going to be 1, 2, 3, 4 inches folded, and the top is going to be 1, 2.5 inches folded. And all I'm going to do is now put this, hold this together in my pins. And now I'm going to just run a seam across the edge on both sides here. And when you're doing this, I recommend that you try sewing from this side over so that you're not going to have a weird edge here when this comes up and you're going under your machine. So it's sewing on the same side on both sides. Okay, so I finished sewing my edges, and I'm quickly just going to cut off all this surplus that I've got floating around. And you can cut off some of this extra that you've got. I have a little bit extra too much here that I don't want. And if you're very finicky, you can add like a bias tape edge around this, but I don't really care about that. And I'm just going to get rid of all this extra here. Now the fabric that I've chosen seems to collect everything for my liner, so that's not good, but I'm just going to cut all this off. And I'm going to flip this inside out. just gonna push all my corners out. So that I've got a nice, the corners are supposed to be pushing out, not coming back in. And now that's ready for my tissue. So I just got a tissue box. Now this isn't going to fit the whole tissue box. This is just for like the tissues from my car. I don't need a whole box. I just want it to kind of look nice. So all I'm going to do is grab a bunch of tissues out of my box here. If I'm lucky. I'll fold this back. Put my tissues inside. I'm going to pull one tissue flap out. And now I've got a tissue box for my car or for anywhere, like in my purse. There you go. And there you have it. We've successfully made a full-size tissue pouch. Let me know if you've tried this project and how it turned out. If you've got any suggestions on how to make it better, be sure to let me know. Thanks so much for watching, and don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe. Happy crafting!